Hi guys! Iron Cameraman is here. Part 2 of the 70th episode of the series has opened the curtain on many details that we have been discussing for most of the series' Skibidi Toilet, and also gave the basis for new theories about what will happen next. In this clip, you'll find out what to expect in Part 3 of Episode 70, what will be the battle with the scientist, and whether it will be at all, what's behind the many doors in the lab, what will be the relationship in the future between Dark Speaker and Plunger, what action will the Astro Skibidi take in the future, what to expect from Dafuk as a character in the future, and also a super theory at the end of the video, which you will definitely like. Be sure to watch to the end. First of all, let's talk about what's in store for us in Part 3 of Episode 70. At the beginning of the month, Dafuk wrote in his Discord that the whole series will be very epic, and also posted a mini spoiler, which if we lighten it, we will see a scientist and the number 70, which refers us to the fact that in the series we will see a battle or at least a key moment with the scientist, which will change the whole subsequent course of the series. Most likely, when the agents get to the scientist, we will either see a new strong Skibidi Toilet who will stand on the defense, or an improved old toilet, which appeared in previous episodes. Because as you may have noticed, the 70th episode was a series of returns. In the first part, we saw an improved DJ Skibidi, and in the second part, we saw an improved Scout Skibidi, so it's likely that Dafuk will revive the forgotten character in Part 3. As for the Astro Toilets, they are unlikely to come to the scientist's aid, since in Part 2 we saw a document that looks like a contract between the regular toilets and the Astro Toilets. Apparently, this document serves as a confirmation of the division of territories between these two factions after the events of the 60th series. Looking at the photos in the contract, we can conclude that they are not very friendly to each other, so there will be no mutual assistance between them. Most likely the scientist will be taken care of by the agents we saw at the end of Part 1, namely the large cameraman with lasers, a company of TV women, camera women, and speaker women, followed by other small agents. The cleansing of the entire lab of small Skibidists will be organized by the agents who began the assault on the base at the end of the 69th episode. And to G-Man will come Plungerman and Dark Speaker Man. It is possible that they will bring him to the Titans. As they are unlikely to deal with him alone, he is much bigger and stronger than them. Speaking of which, as you can see, the Plunger Man is still angry at the speaker because of the death of the twins, as he behaves appropriately. He doesn't take his hand. He tries to show his anger towards him in every possible way, even though the speaker wants to make amends. At the end of the episode, the speaker saved him from the lethal hypnosis of the TV, and Plunger in turn saved the speaker from the tentacles of the Scout. It would seem that's the end of the story and the relationship is mended. But Plunger is very stubborn and just so will not forgive the death of their brethren. Perhaps in Part 3 they will unite to solve a common problem, and we will see them as in previous episodes, friendly to each other. Also, when the Plunger and Dark Speaker were flying out of the scout room, we could see a large number of different small rooms. But what's behind those doors? I've got a couple options on that. The first says that there is some kind of dormitory Skibidi toilets where they rest, because any living organism needs sleep. But why would I think that? Well, the thing about each lab is that the lower the floor, the more valuable it is. As we saw in episode 68, when the Plunger squad jumped into the elevator, it was the 4th floor. They then went down to the 1st floor where the failed or would-be warriors in the Skibidi's unit were stored. Since they are very valuable and dangerous, they were lowered to the lowest floor. In the second part of the 70th episode, the Plunger's team went back up to the 5th floor, where they found themselves in the Scout's room, filled with his trophies. Since he does not play a strong role in the war, he is on the top floor, like the rest of the small Skibidi. The second option says that behind the doors are laboratories, where they improve the Skibidi, invent different vaccines to make hybrids. It is possible that the first appearance and testing of Parasite Skibidi was here. Now let's talk about Dafuk. In Part 2, we saw on the poster that he's a lab administrator. But how did he get his powers that we saw in the series? Most likely as soon as the Skibidi virus appeared. He was in the lab and tried to find an antidote. But as a result of the experiment, he accidentally got some superpowers, and now, with their help, wants to help the Alliance win. Also, in episode 67, we could see that after the TV Titan had defeated the scientist, the small original version of the scientist tried to attack the big cameraman. But Dafuk interfered, so he dislikes the scientist so much that for the first time in the history of the series, he showed himself to the cameraman to dodge and follow the scientist. If we take into account everything I said earlier in 3-part 70 episode, Dafuk will intervene again to finally defeat the scientist. What about the Astro Toilets? When they first appeared, everyone thought they were the only one. But as it turns out, there are at least 3 of them, and they are like a separate faction that is hostile to the Alliance, and not very friendly to the Skibidi Toilets themselves. They occasionally watch major battles, as we saw in episode 68, where the Titan TV man fights the fake G-Mens. With their observation, they assess the power of the Alliance, their weaknesses, so that they can attack unexpectedly and deliver a crushing blow. In the 70th episode of the first part, you can see how the Astro Toilet easily confronted the 2 Titans and warned them that they will all die. Therein lies the future of Astro Toilets. They don't appear very often, but they do a lot of damage. As the saying goes, rare but true. And as promised, a super theory, and it involves a red cameraman. As we've seen, he's been injured, but I wouldn't say it's very serious. Maybe Dafuk will fix him up and give him some powers like his own, or take full control of him to deal with the scientist and not reveal his identity to the public. Well, to always be in the loop, subscribe to the channel with a bell. I'll see you all later, and bye-bye.